The dark side of human behavior you must know. Most people like to believe they're good, rational, fair, kind, and most of the time they are. But there's another side to human behavior that almost no one talks about openly. A side that shows up in small moments, in subtle reactions, in quiet decisions. And if you don't understand it, you will keep getting blindsided by it. In relationships, friendships, workplaces, even family. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Humans are not just driven by love, logic, or morality. We are driven by ego, insecurity, fear, and status. And these forces are much stronger than most people realize. Let's start with something subtle. Envy. Not the obvious kind, not the I hate you kind, the quiet kind. The kind where someone smiles at your success but slightly pulls away afterward. When you get promoted, when you start looking better, when your relationship is going well, you expect support. But sometimes what you get is distance because your growth silently threatens someone else's identity. Humans constantly compare themselves. It's automatic, it's neurological. And when your progress highlights someone else's stagnation, it can create discomfort they don't know how to process. So instead of celebrating you, they protect their ego. That's the first dark truth. Not everyone wants you to win. At least not if your win forces them to confront themselves. Here's another one. People don't always want honesty. They say they do, but what they often want is validation. If your truth challenges someone's self-image, belief system, or life choices, they may label you as negative, arrogant, or too much. Not because you're wrong, but because you're disruptive. Humans are wired to preserve psychological comfort. We avoid cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding two conflicting ideas. So when you introduce a new idea that threatens someone's worldview, their brain often responds defensively. They argue, they dismiss, they distance. It feels personal, but it's usually protection. Now, here's something even darker. Group behavior changes morality. Individually, most people see themselves as decent. In groups, something shifts. Responsibility diffuses. Empathy decreases. People say things online they would never say face-to-face. They participate in gossip they privately disagree with. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny, because belonging often feels more important than integrity. The need to belong is primal. It overrides logic, it overrides values, and sometimes it overrides kindness. That's why perfectly good people can participate in cruelty if it protects their social standing. Here's another truth you need to understand. People are more self-focused than they appear. Not because they're evil, but because survival historically required self-prioritization. When someone doesn't text back, when they forget something important to you, when they don't show up emotionally, your brain interprets it as rejection. But often it's not about you. It's about their own stress, their own fears, their own internal battles. Most people are fighting something silently, and under pressure, humans narrow their focus. Empathy shrinks. Patience shrinks, perspective shrinks. Stress activates self-preservation, and self-preservation can look like selfishness. Now let's talk about power. Power changes behavior, even small amounts of it. A job title, a little authority, a bit of social leverage. Research consistently shows that when people gain power, their empathy can decrease. They interrupt more, they listen less, they become more impulsive. Why? Because power reduces perceived consequences, and when consequences feel distant, restraint weakens. This is why understanding human nature matters, not so you become cynical, but so you become aware. Because if you assume everyone operates from pure intention, you will be confused constantly. You'll wonder why loyalty shifts, why energy changes, why support disappears. But if you understand the darker layers, ego protection, insecurity, fear of status loss, belonging instincts, power dynamics, you stop taking everything personally. You start seeing patterns instead of betrayals. And here's the final uncomfortable truth. You are not exempt from this. Neither am I. You have felt envy. You have wanted validation. You have softened your honesty to avoid tension. You have acted differently in groups. You have prioritized yourself under stress. The dark side of human behavior isn't other people, it's human. The goal isn't to eliminate it. That's impossible. The goal is awareness, because awareness gives you choice. When you notice envy rising, you can choose admiration instead. When you feel defensive, you can pause instead of attack. When group pressure builds, you can decide whether belonging is worth your integrity. And when someone else acts from their darker side, you can respond with clarity instead of confusion. Understanding human darkness doesn't make you cold, it makes you realistic. And realism protects you, not from people, but from unrealistic expectations about them. Human beings are capable of love and cruelty, generosity and selfishness, integrity and hypocrisy, sometimes in the same day. The moment you accept that duality, you stop being shocked by behavior. You start navigating it. And that shift from naive to aware changes everything.